like back in the day, I did not hear as many black women talk about things like eating ass.
No, they didn't.
I feel like 15 years
I
ago.
don't think they did. Black women weren't even. They weren't even. Now, what I know is when I was in high school, and obviously I'm of a certain age. Like I'm about to turn 39 this year. When I
You
was
look
in
good,
high
by the
school,
way.
thank you. Yeah, nobody ever knows that. I'm glad I'm maintaining. I'll keep maintaining it. But when I was in high school, um, even if the black women weren't virgins, they weren't outward overtly sexual. Like there will be white women sucking dick in locker rooms, white girls. Well, they weren't women, they were teenage girls, but they would be sucking dick in locker rooms. Black women weren't doing that. In fact, black women were afraid to even admit whether they did it or not. They wouldn't even go around saying that they do it. A lot of men would complain that this is something that they won't do. So it's widely known that there was a point when black women were seen as too sexually chaste. This was an issue for black men. And what they would do is they will weaponize access to white women, much like what they're doing now, especially with their little raggedy passports, to try and get black women to engage in behaviors that are more beneficial to them. And so all black women have been doing is trying to accommodate, like I said, the various different forms of degeneracy that they're being asked to engage in, only for those same men to then turn around and complain. Because there was a day back in the day, they would complain, black men would complain that black women were getting on birth control. Like birth control used to be the discussion that they're having now with abortion, talking about, oh, well, black women are getting many abortions. Before abortions, they were doing that with birth control, discouraging black women from getting on birth control, but then abandoning them with children. So it's like you purposely want to burden your women with children and have them providing for them on their own, knowing that it's causing a host of psychological issues and subsequently behavioral problems that we're suffering as a result of. So I think that black men have been creating this dynamic for a very long time, and quite frankly, it's out of control.
It's out of control now. And to back up what you said about how black women were viewed as being too, sexually prissy, I guess you could say, or chase. If you remember the movie The Brothers from 2001,
it is. It's actually quite this camp. That was one of my favorite movies.
Movie too. Yeah,
that made me like D.L. Hughley. Actually,
it was a really good movie, and they definitely had an interesting dynamic in their marriage, but. Even that, she was like, "Oh, my mama told me it was nasty to do that. I don't want to suck your dick."
Exactly. That was one of his main issues in that movie with her, was that she wouldn't give him head. He was complaining about that. So she was very, very chaste. There was a limit on what she would do. And if you go back to a lot of these old movies, you would see that theme in there. There was even some where they would compare black women to, like, I think even in The Best Man, and I think the Best Man Holiday, they had a scene where they were comparing, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, obviously, but I do recall there being a scene in there where they're all sitting around talking about who gives head better. And I think that somebody in there referenced a white woman or something. Like, I don't know. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I do believe that played out in a lot of it plays out in a lot of black movies.
Yeah, but I just wanted to back that up, because I'm like, as you were saying that, I'm like, dang, that came to my mind. Now, I love to mess with the people that watch the show. I probably shouldn't have been watching that movie because I was like 8 years old when it came out. But I'm gonna leave
that. When it came out too, I really was.
I'm gonna leave that alone. But let's be clear on this too. Yes, were white girls stereotypically quicker to give you head or let you do it in the butt? Yeah, but it's just because they didn't want to get pregnant. That's all that was about. It wasn't that they're just better at giving head. No, they just understand, like, nigga, I'm not letting you get me pregnant, but I'll suck you off.
Well, they can't afford to let them get them pregnant.
Exactly.
They risk too much. It's too huge of an L for, I mean, now obviously they feel like there's more social acceptance, which really there's not, because the white community is still very clear on how they view white women who do engage with black men. That has not changed at all. Like I really feel like we need to understand that has not changed. They're still looked at very poorly. And that's not just with American white women, that's with every ethnicity of white. There is no group of women who are looked at as anything other than poor when they get with black men. And I think that we should be dissecting why. We should be looking at that.
Because once they go black, they literally can't go back. Like, you have a black man's kid, they can't just now be a single white mother with a biracial child is not going to now remarry a white man.
It's a storm show. Ay, it's a storm show.